this is why I would have celebrated Darwin Day had I known it existed. Had I known it was on 12th and not some other day. The primary reason relates to Charles Darwin's contributions to the field that I am now studying, which is environmental forensics. Heavily encompasses the study of ecology. Now, initially I was pretty unsure as to how Charles Darwin actually Darwin's work on evolution actually contributed. I thought one of the main things I work with is taxonomy, is classification. Charles Linnaeus did that during the 18th century. Multiple people in terms of just natural philosophy were just looking at, they were documenting the environment, they were going around, and some people were starting to apply mathematics. At the beginning of the 1800s, they were beginning to apply mathematics to populations as well. So we have that. But so what Charles Darwin did, I wasn't exactly sure what evolution mattered, since evolution was mostly just about, how life got here. And then I realized the actual principles behind that and why they're relevant. The main reason they're relevant is we have his central premise is based on the old phrase, is known in the famous words of survival of the fittest, which is not survival of the strongest or the smartest or anything like that. Fitness literally refers to how well you are suited to your environment, or how well you can live in your environment, or how well you are fitted, how well you fit. Fitness literally means how well do you fit in your environment. Now, the implications of that are huge. What he introduced was the concept, and through his ventures, so for example, he introduced the concept of he really looked at the concept of being adapted for your environment. The idea that different things of previous stock can branch out and can take up different niches, and the idea of interconnectedness between predator, prey, and different things being specialized for different roles. These are keystone concepts of ecologists. Say for example, one thing we look at is the keystone species ones, which eats, say for example, a shark which will eat large things which will keep the rest of the environment in check. Just to give one example. Not only that, his work also, through the introduction of the idea of common ancestry, also helped give greater informational depth to the taxonomic work that Carl Linnaeus did. Carl Linnaeus invented the system of the binomial classification system, which essentially says, to give the example of Eucalyptus gumifera, of a tree that is, Eucalyptus gumifera, eucalyptus is the genus, and gumifera is the species. It's always genus, it's always written genus, then species. For example, Homo sapiens sapiens, or humans. Homos is just the general genus, or in other words, humanoids, and sapiens is us, is our individual species. When Homo is a part of a certain family and all that kind of thing, whereas Eucalyptus is part of a greater family of Myrtaceae, which is part of Angiosperms, which is part of Plantae, which is part of higher plants, which is part of plants. It goes up and up and up. Why it's useful to me is exactly that. Is the idea that the concepts of adaptation and the idea of something being fit for its environment, and fitness and its ability to cope with its environment, and the idea of environmental change causing changes in features, and the idea of variation, and therefore diversity being a result of a single parent population producing vast numbers of different offspring, and the concept of biodiversity, which is also extremely vital is a vital concept that often we aim to preserve in environmental science. So these are just so those are the main academic reasons. On a slightly more arbitrary reason, it's really just Charles Darwin's work really put the nail in the coffin in the idea of the God in the gaps. It really did. It really made it a lot harder for people to, talk about the God of the gaps in terms of God's direct input. That's a bit uncomfortable for me because I'm Orthodox, not necessarily the most obedient of one, because naturally modern concepts of, humanist concepts, scientific concepts, have essentially rendered what's written in the Bible to be outdated, and just simply a bad idea for living, for functioning properly in a civil society, a modern civil society. But like I said, during the 19th century, there was still a bit of the idea that science wasn't quite free. I think Darwin's theory of evolution really helped in a lot of ways to break away from the otherwise handhold that religious superstition would have other handled science, because it provided a really concrete explanation, one of the best we've ever had, explanations as to why certain things die out, why certain things live, why some don't, why certain things are big, why some are small, why are thin or short or fat, or smart but not opposable to some, or whether or not they've just got a really tough skeleton and they live for hundreds of years, and all that kind of thing. He coined all those things. He coined a lot of those things in The Origin of the Species. So I think we owe him a great debt, and that is why I would have celebrated Darwin Day.